Dell's Philanthropy and Trump accounts. I have previously written how I'm a pretty big fan of Trump accounts. The big news this last week, is that Michael Dell announced a $6.25 billion plan to fund 25 million Trump accounts for kids to receive $250 each. Here's some details. Eligible kids ages 10 and under need to have been born before January 1st, 2025. This is specifically complementary to the Trump accounts written into law with the One Big Beautiful Bill Act this past summer. Official Trump accounts will fund $1,000 per child born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. There is a kind of means testing component to the Dell philanthropic gift. Kids are made eligible by living in a zip code with a median household income below $150,000. In Texas, where I live, that covers 80% of zip codes, but means testing will lead to unfair results in both directions and undoubtedly will complicate this gift. And what I mean by that is, like, my own zip code, for example, has a median income of $55.9 thousand. So if I had young kids, they would be eligible for Dell's philanthropy. There are certainly a significant handful of prosperous families in my zip code who would qualify for the money, though not technically needy households. And on the other side, there will actually be needy families who, by an accident of geography, will be in a tonier neighborhood and excluded. We can imagine the complications and appeals which will ensue. There's nothing like free money to make people go a little nutty in the pursuit of justice and equality. But anyway, philanthropically, this breaks new ground. We've never seen anything like this. The Wall Street Journal celebrated this with a "Billionaire Cash for Kids and Capitalism" headline on their op-ed page. They applauded that kids will get a lesson in compound interest, my personal favorite topic of all time, and private markets rather than pure redistribution. Indeed, if these work as designed, a 1-year-old gifted $250 could see that account worth $1,264 in 17 years, a 5x return over that period. Just to get into the fine print, I'm assuming a 10% annual compound return, which is on the one hand high, but on the other hand, roughly historically what the last 17 years have given us. So, of course, another big idea with these accounts is that family members and also employers could give up to $5,000 per year, thus spreading the joys and gains of stock ownership throughout more households. ChatGPT tells me there are an estimated 43 million kids between the ages of 0 and 10 in the United States. Dell has estimated in his announcement that 25 million kids could benefit from his philanthropy. This kind of billionaire philanthropy in support of a signature Trump plan from the OBBBA is pleasing to the MAGA set, but it could also be seen as a left-coded thing. It's all about framing. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, Democrat, has advocated legislation for $1,000 baby bonds since 2017. His advocacy stands alone as a signature idea of his, but also in some national conversations around slavery reparations, the idea of giving young black children financial support in this form has also kind of blended with Booker's advocacy. And on the other side of the aisle, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, obviously a Republican, has pushed for a similar idea, in Cruz's telling, quote, "This Trump account provision will create an entire new generation of capitalists," end quote. This is because Cruz said, quote, "Every child in America will benefit from the miracle of compound growth," end quote. Gotta endorse the idea myself. Both senators publicly and jointly endorsed the Trump accounts idea this last summer, with Cruz credited for pushing the version that became law with the OBBBA. On the heels of Dell's announcement, a further strong endorsement from the right arrived. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick announced he would support creating $1,000 accounts for Texas babies during the 2027 legislative session. It is interesting to see how popular free money is on the left and on the right. When a billionaire entrepreneur like Michael Dell offers it and funnels it through a MAGA-coded account, then it's all good. And as a fan of Trump accounts myself, I think it is good. And yet I keep thinking about this gift, its unprecedentedness, and I keep wondering how it will go wrong. Here are 9 more thoughts on the gift. Number 1, in the fever dreams of the eat the rich left, Likely the idea of taking many billions of dollars from a rich person like Michael Dell and then distributing them voluntarily to 25 million young people would be considered practically a dream too far. Free money for the masses and then restricting it according to socialist ideas of means testing the gift according to an income limit by zip code so that it targets lower income families? Talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. That could never happen, not DEI in Trump's America. It's amazing, right? It's all about the framing. Number 2, how literally and logistically does Michael Dell's foundation identify 25 million unique Americans under age 10 to create an account for them? I know that eligible participants have to have a social security number, so that's obviously one way they can be identified, but also putting money into an account for a child accessible starting at age 18 is actually pretty complicated. You need their physical address for mailing statements. You need a valid email of the parents, or at least one parent, since under 10-year-olds won't necessarily have an email yet. It feels like this gift may need to be $7.25 billion, not $6.25 billion, to account for the $1 billion it will take to administer everything. Dell's been a successful tech entrepreneur almost as long as I've been alive, but still this seems like a daunting task. Point number 3. My strong guess is that parents have to opt in to receive funds for a child's Dell contribution to a Trump account, because otherwise Dell would just be putting money into a child's account linked to a social security number that never gets claimed. Because of the opt-in, though, this means that the least organized parents will probably not do the basic thing to A, register for a social security number in time, B, figure out whatever bureaucratic hoops have to be cleared to get $250 funded into an account, C, track the account over time. This will automatically skew the recipients to the more competent families. Point number 4, how do you keep the parent from taking the money out themselves? The prospective, let's say 2-year-old recipient who doesn't even know what money is will not be aware for a long time of their Dell-funded Trump account. Only the parent can manage that with an address, an email account, the password, and the know-how to track financial accounts. Out of an eligible pool of 25 million kids and their parents, do you guess that there are 1 million parents who will figure out a way to scam that money from their child? 3 million parents who will do that? Addiction, crime, and overwhelming family need could easily be a problem in 10% of families. I mean, more. I'm not saying this is a reason to not try this experiment, only that there will be hundreds of millions of dollars stolen from kids by their parents unless they've got a really, really solid plan here. It just seems to me self-evident that that's what's going to happen. Point number 5, how will the money be invested? I understand there are good restrictions in place for the Trump accounts generally, US stocks only, low-cost index-oriented funds. But within that universe, there are hundreds, there may be thousands of options. In my humble experience and opinion, few adults have any idea how to make that kind of choice. This is a solvable problem in that the Dell Foundation could just autopilot every account into the same exact starting fund, but they definitely need a plan. If the money just sits in cash, it will have been a huge missed opportunity for the kids in terms of compound interest. Number 6, a Bloomberg opinion columnist has recently argued that every child born in the United States should be gifted $10,000 into a locked up investment account, which, given enough time to retirement, would blossom into a very large nest egg years later. The idea is that this would provide a better solution than Social Security. I basically agree. Left to grow for 67 years, $10,000 given at birth becomes $5.9 million. Again, I'm using the same 10% return assumption. Yes, the purchasing power of $5.9 million will be lower in 67 years, but I can say with 100% certainty that this will be a better return than what is provided by Social Security now, while at the same time not creating an unfunded liability that puts both the federal government and retirees at risk as we are currently hurtling towards 2032, 2033 when the Social Security Trust Fund goes away. Number 7, and here's another dark side in addition to the logistical doubts listed above. If it becomes politically appealing that private billionaire philanthropists are the ones responsible for young people in the United States, and that seems more appealing in addressing intractable childhood problems like food insecurity via free reduced lunch or food stamps made by taxpayers, does that justify massive federal cuts to the childhood safety net? I'm obviously making a few logical leaps forward in the thought process, but it's where the mind goes. Number 8, clearly the fever dream on the far right is that we could dismantle large federal bureaucracies, let the wildly successful heroes of the entrepreneurial class fund, at their own option and at their own chosen scale, the needs of the least successful. That would be a return to the kind of 18th and 19th century aristocratic model, the noblesse oblige of the top, addressing the charitable needs at the bottom, with very little intervention by a clunky state bureaucracy through annoying taxation. My reading of Dickens makes me think that wasn't a better world back then. And then finally, point number 9, the Dells are currently estimated to be worth $148 billion. So this represents something like 5% of their wealth. In no way does this extraordinary gift threaten their position at the uppermost tippity-top position of global wealth. If we imagine the mood of the country that will elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as president in 2028, a wealth tax could be a bigger bite than 5% of the top class's wealth. It is certainly cheaper for the likes of Michael and Susan Dell to volunteer 5% of their extraordinary net worth than to have it forcibly taken by taxation or worse.